Okay, we're now going to take this precedence table and we're going to turn it into an activity network. And this example is going to involve some dummy edges, which is going to make things a bit more interesting. Remember, you should always do this in a pencil and a rubber because we are going to make mistakes, people, and we're going to have to rub them out and fix those mistakes. It's inevitable. You're just going to have to roll with those punches. All right, let's come down here and let's begin. Remember, before you begin drawing your activity network, what you want to do is identify where you're starting from. So where am I starting from? Well, as you can see here, I have no predecessors there. So that means this is where I'm going to start. You also have to identify where you're going to end. So how can I identify where I'm going to end? Well, it's going to be when your activity never appears as a predecessor. So can you see how I never appears as a predecessor here? That means it's going to be where I finish. H here does appear as a predecessor, so it's not a finish point. G, on the other hand, never appears as a predecessor. So that means G is also going to be a finish. F is here, E is here, and in fact, the rest of these are predecessors. So that means only G and I are going to meet my end point right there. The other thing I like to also point out is places where my lines are going to meet. So for instance, the lines D and H are going to meet. What else is going to meet? Well, this is now an interesting part. Do you see how I've got E and F and also E and F there? So that means E and F are going to meet, but this is where we need to pause for a moment. Whenever you have different combinations of things, it means you've got a dummy edge on your hands. So if we come over here and read our instructions here, take note that it says that dummy edges are necessary when the predecessor is required in different combinations. So here, different combo equals dummy edge. So the fact that I have right here, I have E and F and then C, E and F, well, I've got different combinations. So that means I've got a dummy edge. Now, I like to write in where my dummy edge is going to appear and the direction it's going to appear in. So what is it going to be? I'm going to start at EF right here, and I'm going to come to the end of C. So it's going to go from EF to C. And I like to draw that in, and that's going to remind me when I'm going for this. All right, let's begin. What are we going to do? Well, I'm starting at A, B, and C. So I'll begin with my starting vertex. This is where I'm starting from. And then from it, I have A, B, and C. Perfect. Make sure you're doing this with a pencil, people, because we are going to make mistakes. It's inevitable. A, B, and C. Okay, that's done. A, B, C. Next, I have D and E, and the predecessors to D and E are both A. So that means from A, I have D, and I have E. Perfect. Then I have B, and B, I have F, and the predecessor to F is B. So here's B, and now this is where I'm going to be careful. I know that E and F are actually going to meet together. So that means I'm going to draw E going up. So F going up. So there is F, and as you can see, because I drew a circle around it, I know that E and F are going to meet at that point. So that's how I knew to do that. So that's now done. All right, what about this one? So now I've got to draw G. This is where we've got to be careful because as you can see, I've got a dummy edge playing here. Okay, so the predecessors to G are C, E, and F. Now, what I'm immediately going to do is draw in my dummy edge, and my dummy edge is going to go from EF to C. So here is EF, and I need to draw a dummy edge to C. So notice how, it's going to be hard to draw a dotted line to there. So what I would prefer to do here is actually rub it out, and I might actually come over here. I might put the F there. I'm going to draw it here. So now, see how I'm just redrawing it just to make it a bit nicer. So now, when I draw in my dotted line, I can just draw a straight dotted line down. Remember, you have to give it direction. So there is the direction. And you have to call it D for dummy. And now, we can draw G coming out of this. All right, let's now just reflect on what we've done here. We've been told that G has the predecessors C, E, and F. Well, as you can see, here is C as its predecessor, and this dummy line is also saying E and F are also predecessors to G. So that's the point of it. That's the point of doing it like that. All right, so now we're done with that. Next, we have H coming out of E and F. So here is E and F, and out of that, we're going to have H. Okay, that's now done. What else do we have? We have D and H. We've got I, and the predecessor to I is D and H. Now, immediately, do you see how I've made a mistake? Like, this was inevitable. It was going to happen. D and H, here's D, here's H, they should be joined together. So what I'm going to have to do now is some rubbing out. So I'm going to have to rub this out, and I'm going to have to go, all right, here is D, and then H needs to meet it. Here is H. Okay, D and H, they're now meeting, and out of that needs to come I. Now, I is a finish point. So I need to come here, and I need to draw I. Now, this is I, and this is my finish point. Do you also notice that I made another little mistake here? Here was G. G was a finish point. So I need to rub this out, and I need to draw this all the way up to my finish point. There's G. All right, am I done? I am done here, people. And we know we can just quickly give a scan through this just to verify that we're done here. For instance, here's I, and D and H are coming off it. Here is H, and from H we've got E and F coming off it. And then we've also got F. F is coming from B. This all looks good, people. But did you see how, we had to rub things out. We had to make sure that things looked nice. And that's kind of inevitable. There's really no avoiding that. So just make sure that you're doing this with a pencil and a rubber, just in case you make a mistake. And that is how you approach these types of questions. Hopefully this has made sense. It is a bit of a tricky skill, but with practice comes perfect. And Ed Rollo has, worked video solutions for all of these as well, which are very, very helpful. All right, see ya.